Hi, this is Jane at the Tahlequah Public Library, and we're going to do quick looks for a couple more of the books that have been highly recommended for the summer. So these are books that when I searched the internet, multiple sites have recommended them, from Amazon to USA Today to Barnes & Noble to lots of different publications and blogs and websites have mentioned these as the best books of the summer. The first one is a book called Falling by T.J. Newman, and I don't actually have a physical copy of the book because the library hasn't got their physical copies of the book, but it is available as an ebook on Libby and as a digital audiobook on Libby too, so they can be checked out that way. And you can also request the book form right now. We just don't have the copies in, so you can request them as a regular book. It just take a few weeks before you'll get it. But the idea behind Falling by T.J. Newman, it's a suspense thriller, and the story, evidently, I haven't read any of these, is this airline pilot is getting ready to take off in the airplane on a cross-country flight, and he gets a phone call and he recognizes the phone number as being from his wife, so he answers the phone, and it turns out that it's not his wife. Instead, a man comes on the phone and he tells the pilot that he has the man's family, his wife and children, and he's going to hold them hostage, and he gives the pilot a choice. He tells him, you either need to bring the plane down or your family will die. And so the pilot ends up spending the entire book trying to find a way to rescue his family and then also save the plane and the passengers in the plane. And it's got a lot of thumbs up on this book. I know a lot of people are requesting it on Libby. It's gotten really good reviews, and a lot of people say that it's very suspenseful, really thrilling. I believe that they're going to possibly make a movie out of it. I know that the author already has another book contract lined up. Turns out that she's a flight attendant who actually started writing the book on flight, so she would jot notes down about the book and her ideas while she was flying around the country. That one you might want to check out. Again, it's Falling by T.J. Newman. And the next book is a book called The Paper Palace, and it's by, the author's name is Miranda Cowley Heller. Currently, right now, it's available on Libby as an ebook, but I believe that they're going to be ordering physical copies of this book because it's a New York Times bestseller right now. It's also high on the Kindle list, so we're probably going to be getting physical copies too that you'll be able to order, but you can get it as an ebook on Libby. And this story is about a woman named Elle, and she's vacationing on Cape Cod in her family's home, the Paper Palace, where she's vacationed practically every summer for her whole life. She's about 50 years old. She's happily married and has a couple of children, and one evening one of her oldest friends, a man named Jonas, and his wife come over to dinner, and Elle and Jonas go outside to talk to each other, and they end up, I guess, rekindling their feelings that they had for each other many years before. And something happened in their past many years before when Elle and Jonas were younger that caused their lives to go in different ways than at least Elle had planned. And so she ended up being married to a different man and spending her whole life with this man. And now she and Jonas, and she's reevaluating her feelings, and she's deciding, does she want to stay with her husband, whom she does love, or does she want to try to start her relationship over again with the man named Jonas. And so basically this book is her examining her feelings and what's happened to her in the past, which is a mystery. I don't know what happened to her in the past. And so that book is what she decides to do with her life. And that's got a lot of big thumbs up too. It's gotten a lot of praise from a lot of different places. And hopefully we're going to get the books. I can't imagine that we won't. So you can keep your eye out for that if you prefer to read the book form of the Paper Palace instead of the Libby ebook, which is what is available right now. And then the third book that I wanted to let you know about is a Stephen King book. It's not coming out until Tuesday, August 3rd. It's called Billy Summer. You can request it as a physical book in the library catalog right now because we will be getting the books, and you can also you'll also be able to read the ebook. I have not seen a listing yet for the audiobook version of it. This one is being described as a thriller, kind of a noir one, not a horror novel. And I guess the main idea is the character, his name is Billy Summers. This book also has a really neat cover on it. And anyway, Billy Summers is a decorated veteran who happens to be one of the world's best snipers. And since getting out of the military, he's basically been a killer for hire. So he goes around, people hire him, and he basically gets rid of people. And so he has an offer to take out a supposedly very evil, bad person, and he's getting ready to retire, and he decides, I'll go ahead and take this job, it'll be my last one. And he has a reputation for going in, getting the job done, and vanishing, and he never gets, nobody ever catches him or anything else. So he takes this last job, and everything evidently goes wrong. Everything that could go wrong does go wrong, and but he's on the trail trying to get this person who's supposedly very evil and has lots of crimes. And I've got a lot of thumbs up on this one too, so I actually put this one on request. I'm not really into horror, but I do like thrillers and suspense novels, so you might want to check that one out. I think it does have a few requests for the physical book. I'm not sure about Libby yet, but you can get either an ebook or the regular book. And then I have a couple of actual physical books. The first one is a book, it's called Blush, and it's by Jamie Brenner. This one is only available right now as a regular book. We don't have it as an ebook right now. And I haven't read this one either. This is a story of three women, three generations of women. There's a lady named Vivian, who's the grandmother, her daughter Leah, and then Leah's daughter Sadie. They've had a vineyard in their family for generations, and they're all coming together over the summer at the vineyard to be together. And when they get there, they find out that the vineyard is in serious financial trouble, and the family may be having to sell it. So these three women, there's Vivian, Leah, and Sadie, they decide to try to do what they can to save the vineyard. And one of the ways that they try to work out their issues in their life, Leah, the daughter, she wanted to run the vineyard, and her father wouldn't let her. He excluded her from running the vineyard, and she's managed to start her own successful business. She's having some problems in her marriage. Her daughter, Sadie, she's a college student who is having trouble coming up with the ideas for her honors dissertation, and she may be kicked out of her college program. So they all have problems and issues that they're facing. And they get together and they resurrect this old book club that the grandmother Vivian used to belong to, and she has all these journals from all of these books. And the book club was called the Trashy Book Club because they used to read those old Jackie Collins, Judith Krantz types books from the late 70s and the 80s. And so these three women decide to revive the book club, and they start reading some of the books, and it leads them to talk about their problems and how they could work things out and save their vineyard and basically empower themselves. And that's basic premise of that one. It's got a lot of thumbs up too. And I don't know about us getting it as an ebook, but right now you can only read this one as a regular physical book. And once again, it's called Blush by Jamie Brenner. And so the last book is a thriller mystery suspense novel called Such a Quiet Place by Megan Miranda. We do have a lot of books by her. This one right now is only available as a physical book. We should be getting it though as an ebook or digital audiobook because we have a lot of her other books that way too. And this book's basic idea is that the main character is a lady named Harper. She lives in a little community, actually a neighborhood called Hollow's Edge, which I thought kind of sounded creepy. But Hollow's Edge, and it's supposed to be this idyllic, very nice neighborhood where all of the neighbors get together and they're friends and they have parties and, all sorts of things. And everybody likes each other. And then one day, there's a murder in the neighborhood and two people, a couple, get killed. So the person who did it, named Ruby, she is sent to prison. A number of people testify against her, and she goes away to jail. And a few months later, maybe a year later, she's released because her conviction is overturned. And she shows up back in the neighborhood, and she comes back to Harper's house because before the murders, Ruby was a roommate with Harper, and the people in the neighborhood of Hollow's Edge are all upset. They don't like that Ruby's back. And Ruby is upset because she says that she did not commit the murder and she was framed and people lied about her. And so Harper, the main character, she starts to wonder, well, if Ruby is not guilty, then who did these murders? And what's going on in this neighborhood? And who was lying? And all sorts of suspicious things start happening. And Harper starts getting threatening letters. And so she decides that she needs to find out who committed these murders before she ends up, somebody ends up coming after her. So that's the basic idea of Such a Quiet Place by Megan Miranda. It's also gotten a lot of talk about it because it's so suspenseful and such a good thriller. I haven't read this one. Like I said, I haven't read any of the books from this Quick Looks, but you might want to give this one a try if you like the thrillers and suspense novels. So hopefully you heard about something that you might be wanting to read, and next time I think we're looking at movies or TV shows that came from books. So if you have any ideas for some books that were made into movies or TV shows recently, let us know. See you later.